ESPR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Owen McKendry. Owen, um, nice bit of news this afternoon. Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk is signed and sealed, is the news we're reading. It's been confirmed by multiple sources now, including Tyson Fury himself, Queensbury, the Saudis as well have said it. So it weirdly looks like this is actually happening now. Bit of a surprise. Obviously, Fury is still supposed to be fighting Francis Ngannou in 4 weeks' time. We're being told December the 23rd or January is when this is going to happen. Obviously, it will be in Saudi, but not an actual date. It's been confirmed. What's going through your head right now? How surprised are you that we are being told the fight is signed?
I'll be honest, I was speechless, but there's a part of me now hearing that December 23rd date, thinking this has been in the pipeline for a good while. Is it all mind games? Is it all tactics? Because as soon as it's sort of announced that Joshua Wilder's not happening, all of a sudden, the date of December 23rd, which is going to be a potential massive DAZN show with Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, all of a sudden their big heavyweight matchups off, and we see this. I was speechless at first because when you were sent, obviously you sent it into the chats and whatnot, and when you send tweets like that, it's pinch of salt, see where the source is coming from. When it's coming from Queensbury themselves, and like you said, I had a quick look as soon as I got back in, and I'm looking, and like you say, Fury, the lot, it's happening. It's mental. Consider, I think the biggest thing for me is he hasn't even fought Ngannou yet.
Mm.
He's announcing he's going for undisputed status. So
Yeah,
crazy, but
yeah.
thankful.
It's a bit bizarre that he has got this fight in 4 weeks' time. That say what you like, but it's a big fight in 4 weeks' time in terms of the event it is,
Mm-hmm.
how much money he's going to make. So I am quite surprised. I wonder if it's because I think Mike Coppinger broke the news and people started talking about it, and I think Queensbury had an option whether to make it official and say it themselves, or for everyone to kind of know it's official, but they're just kind of waiting on them to say it. So I imagine they want to be part of this day, part of the news breaking day. I suppose
Yep, yep.
that's got something to do with it. So I think that's why it's being announced today. Obviously, this where it's what September the 29th today, and we're being told December the 23rd or January. So obviously that's 3 months or 4 months away, so a little bit of time. It is quite. It does feel like this has come out of nowhere, and it feels like with Fury, you never quite know whether he's being serious. Obviously, I don't know if you remember Owen, but when he was doing interviews at the press conference for the Ngannou fight 2-3 weeks ago, um, basically said he had no interest in the Usyk fight. Said he was kind of wanted to fight John Jones, fight Ngannou in a cage. Discussed wanting to be in films. But here we are 2 weeks later, and he's signed to fight Oleksandr Usyk. What else do you have to say about this fight as well? Are you more excited for this fight than you would be for Chris Eubank, Conor Benn, than you were for Spence Crawford? Where does this fight rank in terms of your kind of excitement levels over the big fights you've seen in the last couple of years?
Oh, right at the very top. I think purely because on a boxing scale, I'd say Spence Crawford for me was probably the top. But the fact of although this is very close, it would be normally be a close second in terms of like a boxing purist sort of aspect. I think the fact the heavyweight division has been dying for a fight of this magnitude for a good few years now. We haven't seen the undisputed fights. AJ Fury, even Wilder's thrown Wilder's name in there. Now you throw Usyk's name in there. It's the heavyweight division has been a mess, and rightly so. As an outlet, we've been heavily critical of the heavyweight division, as of probably 99% of boxing media outlets. So yeah, the fact it's been actually signed and agreed, it's gone like the excitement levels are through the roof. I don't think there's a bigger fight to make at the moment than the undisputed heavyweight title fight. I think we've been denied of it for so long. Now that it's here, I just think the media run up, the press conferences, the tours, everything. I think it's just going to be off the scale personally. And yeah, I'm so buzzing that it's finally going to get an undisputed heavyweight champion. and I feel like we've been robbed of it for a good while now.
Yeah, definitely. I think going to come at you with a positive and a negative, Owen. I think negative is that I don't think it should be forgotten what the last couple of years of the heavyweight division of it has looked like. If you
Absolutely.
consider this year, Fury's not fought. Joshua's had a couple of comeback fights that haven't been amazing. Wilder's not fought, and Usyk's fought once against Daniel Dubois. So that shouldn't be forgotten about, but we have to move forward. One positive is that this fight isn't happening too late. This fight, it's not a Mayweather Pacquiao or a Brook Khan, you could say. Neither fighter are too old. Neither fighter has kind of had too many fights. Both fighters still undefeated. So yeah, it's fantastic that it is finally happening, but at the same time, it's great that it's happening now. Because if we were here in 2 years' time, we'd still be buzzing. But by which time I think Usyk would be 38, Fury would be 37, I think. One of them could have lost by then, you never know. And it wouldn't have that same appeal. Two more questions before we finish, Owen. You mentioned it being for the undisputed championship there. One thing I would say is there's a problem with Filip Hrgović. He obviously is in line to fight for the WBA title next, which Usyk holds. Obviously, a number of things could happen. That fight could be Hrgović could accept step aside money. Hrgović could kind of be made champion after the fight. The fight could be for the undisputed, and Hrgović could have a fight a month later for the world title. Obviously, not against the winner of Usyk versus Fury. I don't feel like there's the same problem with Zhang now. I think Zhang's mandatory will be ordered later in 2024, but I think Zhang's in a very good position to fight the winner, possibly. Do you think that's a stumbling block at all, the Hrgović factor, or do you think this fight will be for the undisputed?
I think it will be. You've already seen Maurizio Sullivan. I know obviously he's WBC, but he's basically saying Fury can do whatever he wants when he wants. Yeah. I think the power he has within boxing, I think few backhanders to the WBA, the WBO if needs be. If I was Hrgović, personally, I'd be, and it's hard because from a financial perspective, the money they'd offer him, you'd be silly not to take it. But from a boxing perspective, if I was Hrgović, I'd be kicking up a fuss going, hang on a minute, I'm being denied another title shot. I'm being made to wait, sort of thing. It's like I've beat Zhang in that fight. I'm waiting for my chance. So I'm not having this. But yeah, I do think Maurizio Sullivan will find a number of ways. I don't exactly know how, but I think he'll have the pulling power to ensure that this fight does definitely go ahead.
I agree. I think there's too much money involved, and if this isn't for the undisputed, it takes a little bit away from it. Look, it's still a massive fight. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anyone's going to not watch because it's not for the WBA belt isn't included. However, I just think they'll find a way to put Hrgović off. Basically, I'd be very surprised if kind of Usyk has to let go of the WBA title before this fight, to be honest. Final question, Owen. What are your thoughts on what's going to happen? We've had plenty of time to think about this. We've had Fury. Look, we've had quite an inactive Fury recently in the past couple of years. Fought Dillian Whyte back in April in an uncompetitive fight. Fought Derek Chisora in December. That was a while ago now, and now he's fighting Francis Ngannou in, I guess you could call could you call it a warm-up fight? Maybe. I'm not quite sure. It's kind of a little spar, but before the Usyk camp, maybe is what you could describe it as. But what's your gut feeling in terms of what we're going to see in this mega fight?
I think what some of the things Usyk showed against Dubois will play into Fury's hands. Especially Usyk has seen he doesn't take being punched to the body the best. So I think Fury will be able to take a lot from that Dubois fight. I think that was a major positive from Fury's perspective. It's the old cliche, but I think if Fury turns up and boxes his best fight, I think it's just the old cliche of too big, too strong for Usyk. I love Usyk. I sort of questioned when he was a cruiserweight, undisputed, and he was going to move up. Could he be the man to sort of go up and rule the division? He's done brilliant. I just think Fury might be a step too far. And the problem is with Tyson Fury, you never know what Fury's going to turn up. He could turn up and he could just try and dance around Usyk, or it's so hard to predict. He could stand there and say, "Let's go to war," sort of thing. But I do personally think this is what Fury needs in terms of legacy. This is the fight he needs. He needs that big name, that undisputed status, and then when people question him, he'll say, "Okay, I've got the Wilder trilogy, I've got the Klitschko win in Germany, and now I've got the Usyk win undisputed." So I do think he'll take it very seriously, and yeah, if he boxes to his best game, I think he's got far too much for Usyk, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not going to write Usyk off. I think this is a challenge for Fury.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why this fight hasn't happened yet. But I just think one of Fury's greatest attributes is that he's such a big man. He's such a big lump and knows how to use his size effectively in the way that Joshua doesn't. And I think that's a big factor here. And Usyk, look, at the end of the day, he is still really a cruiserweight. You know, he's not kind of. He didn't move up to heavyweight because he couldn't make cruiserweight anymore, did he? So the guy is still a cruiserweight. Owen, been great to react to this with you. Thanks for jumping on, and yeah, we will await an official date. I think that's the next step here. We will see. But Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk looks finally to be on, and we will see what happens next. Owen, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure as always, mate.